Welcome to Chicago Bulls Chat with C-Red UK. This podcast is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Wherever or however you're listening, make sure to rate, review and subscribe. It helps us out and means you never miss another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave some comments for us to get back to. And for all the C-Red UK action, check out the Discord channel and across the socials. Now, over to your hosts, Matt Hearn and Neill Dunn. Hello and welcome to another Chicago Bulls chat with the C-Red UK podcast. Just me today. Just wanted to address a couple of the things that have come to light in the last kind of 24 hours or so. First one that seems to have come up is the fact that nepotism is ripe within the Chicago Bulls franchise, as Billy Donovan III is taking the helm for the Windy City Bulls going into next season. He replaces Henry Domicant, who has been the head coach there since 2021. And he was also the assistant coach from 2018 to 2020. So long time stand-in with the Windy City Bulls. And Domicant seems to be in line to be heading towards this newly refurbished coaching staff under Billy Donovan at the Chicago Bulls main team. His son then will be taking over and in charge, who has had some time within the Windy City Bulls as it is. He was the assistant coach for the last campaign, and prior to that he was video coordinator for the Chicago Bulls. So he has been within the organization. It's not like he's just been plucked out the streets and plopped into place, but at the same time it's still it does pang of nepotism, which is not something that's been unheard of in the past with the Chicago Bulls. There is an awful lot of, who you know as opposed to what you know. But I guess, look, the way I look at it is if it was one of my kids that was looking for a job and I was in a position to help them to get one, I'm sure I'd do the same. Whether it lands well with the fans or not, we'll have to wait and see. And just to go over a little bit of his past, then he's also had limited coaching roles within the Spurs G League team and with San Antonio Spurs themselves, respectively, in 2017 and 2019 as a guest head coach with the San Antonio Spurs. So the next thing to touch on then is the latest reporting from Darnell Mayberry saying that Patrick Williams, my guy, kinda, could be going to OKC. Now, this makes an awful lot of sense for OKC and for Patrick Williams. It's a young team. He'd fit in well there. It's the kind of style he'd play would suit OKC, and the Thunder would definitely benefit from a player like Patrick Williams. Whether he develops further or whether he stagnates as he kind of is, it still would work for them. Personally, I just think, I know I have a little bit of bias, but I just think it's too soon to give up on the potential for Patrick Williams. Now, I know everybody is getting sick and tired of hearing about his potential. When are we actually going to see any of that realized? And I think that there's just the expectation that was there for Patrick Williams when he first came in as a number 4 pick, and the Kawhi Leonard comparisons and all that. Look, you need to park all of that. That needs to just be put to one side, and you need to accept the fact that Patrick Williams is a role player, right? He is not going to be some sort of a superstar, but that doesn't mean that role players are not essential to the makeup of a roster construction. And Patrick Williams is pretty good as a role player. I mean, okay, we wanted him to be more. He's not going to be. Lower our expectations and accept the fact that he's going to be a solid piece on a team. He can shoot the three. He can play defense. He's long. He's tall. He's built. Okay, he doesn't use that the way we would like him to use that, but that doesn't mean that that won't come. We need him to start to believe in himself more. We need him to start to use his physicality more in order to do more damage on the court, basically. More rebounding, getting to the line a little bit more, all that sort of expectation that we had for P. Will, but we just need to have it on a slightly smaller scale. I personally think that it's just too soon to give up on him. I do think he's going to be coveted. It also all depends on how much it's going to cost to keep him around. If they have to match a salary, it depends on what that salary is going to be. And also at the same time, there's talks of maybe a sign and trade, which would make a little bit more sense from the Bulls' perspective, perhaps. We do know that OKC have an abundance of picks, so that would certainly be something, if we were to let him go, that we'd be looking to use it for. I know what I've said there as well goes against my latest article and what we talked about on the last show about falling in love with players and letting that cloud your judgment. But like I say again, that's not a decision for me to make. That's a decision for management to make. They have to make the tough decisions. I get the luxury of liking players and not wanting to see them leave. Realistically speaking, though, Patrick Williams is going to be a coveted type of player. The number 4, or in some people's eyes, number 3, but number 4 position, who's able to stretch the floor, can shoot the 3, can defend well. He's fast, he's young, he's athletic. Well, I say he's not that fast. He's quite sluggish, but he has the potential to play well within a system. He just needs to start believing himself that he can do this, take his head out of the clouds. And I still think it's worth giving him a punt of 6 months, give him 3 or 4 months of the season, see how he gets on. If he starts to play well, then look, maybe you can even get more for him, or maybe he fits within the system of the Chicago Bulls and he's worth hanging around and keeping around. He's still quite young. It's still worth giving him a go. I mean, how many people were out on Kobe White, right? Nobody expected his leap to come at the point at which in his career that it did. Patrick Williams is now going to be looking at something similar if he managed just to pull that off this season. So for me personally, I'd hang on to him a little bit longer and just see how that pans out. But if he does go, it would make sense for him to go to OKC and what we could get back for him. There's also been rumors about him going to Spurs. Yeah, I can see that, how that would work too. But personally, with the way Patrick is able to defend, putting him alongside Wemby is quite a scary prospect. So I'd rather not see that happen. The next bit of news I'd like to touch on is what has come out today, that Marc Eversley is staying with the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, he missed out on that role that we were expecting him to take in the Charlotte Hornets. But Marc Eversley has apparently signed a secret 3-year extension with the Chicago Bulls. So he is going to be hanging around doing whatever the hell it is he does. Nobody seems to quite be able to put their finger on what that is. But he is going to be AK's right-hand man for a little bit longer. So I guess Acme is still here moving forward. Not sure how I feel about it, really, because for that very reason that I said, not entirely sure what he does. I know he's a relations guy. And look, if he can help us to continue to do something going forward, building this team and to help execute change, then look, what difference does it make whether he's here or not? If he can improve that, great, perfect. I do hope, though, that these secret extensions, as they're being coined, don't continue to happen. The whole playing everything under the table, I don't like it. I prefer a little bit more transparency within the Chicago Bulls organization for the fans and for the media, so that they know a little bit more of what's going on. And then there's none of these kind of areas where we can start talking and start expanding on, all the what ifs, buts and maybes. And there's a little bit more fact about it. The rumor mill does my head in at the most of the time anyway. And this just opens up too much of an opportunity for rumors to start flying. So, and not just this one, but, the same thing with Billy Donovan, et cetera, et cetera. I don't like the way the organization operates in that way. But look, me sitting here on a pod giving out about it is not going to change it. It just seems to be the way they hold their cards. So the final thing I want to talk about is there's a new app in town. Just a few minutes before I came on to record this, the Chicago Bulls announced, I got an email about it, to say that there is a brand new version of the Chicago Bulls app. So get to your app store or your Google Play Store or whatever it is, wherever you get your apps from. Download the new app. I had a little bit of a play around with it before I came on here, and it seems to be kind of more geared towards fitting around the user. So, you kind of let it know what you're into, what you like, all of those things. It'll start to be geared around your own personal usage, which I think is quite a good move. Also, it's quite swish looking. It looks quite nice. And I did find the old app was a little bit fidgety. So I'm hoping that a few of those little things have been ironed out with this new app. But definitely go and download it, check it out. You get your notifications. You can switch on and switch off what notifications you want. So, you can be notified of a close game. You can get halftime scores. You can get no scores. You can just get game time starts and all those sorts of things. And information about players. It looks to be quite good. Like I say, I'm looking forward to having a proper play around with it. I've only had a little quick look at it, but it looks quite swish. Nice to have a new toy to play around with. So that's about it for this episode. Thanks for joining me. There's a few little tidbits I just wanted to go over, I wanted to talk about and touch on. If anything else breaks over the course of the next few days, either myself or Matt will jump on and throw out another pod. Until then, we will be back next week, and we will be doing a full pod, the two of us, at some point. Do make sure you go back and check out our previous episodes. We've started releasing shorts as well. You can get through those quite quickly and worth having a little look. And do leave comments for us. We do like to read through what you're thinking, answer any questions you may have. And we're pretty good at getting back to you on the socials and on the comment section as well. Don't forget, before you go as well, give us those thumbs up, and make sure that if you don't already, that you subscribe to make sure that you continue to catch all of the new episodes. Thanks for joining me once again. Talk to you soon. Go Bulls and see red, people.